About a year and a half ago, after living in my apartment for over 5 years, I suddenly started noticing that things were out of place. I would come home from work and find things arranged differently, almost as if someone was trying to mess with my OCD. Sometimes I noticed that knives were put back in the knife block the wrong way, or little ornaments around my house were turned the wrong way. Even my clothes in the closet were hung up incorrectly. These small changes made me feel uneasy, but I couldn't prove anything, and I thought maybe I was just being absent-minded. After a couple of months of things being randomly out of place and feeling creeped out, it all stopped. I put it out of my mind and stopped being so paranoid, moving on with my life. That is, until about 2 weeks ago. For the past couple of weeks, my cat has been acting strangely when I come home from work. Any of you who have a cat will know the exact meow I mean, not the "I'm hungry" or "I'm mad because you've been gone" meow, but the "oh my god, you'll never believe what happened" kind of meow. At first, I didn't think much of it because cats can be jerks sometimes, and I assumed he was just bored and complaining. Then the other day, I came home and found a pair of balled up socks that didn't belong to me on my bedroom floor. My girlfriend came over the next night, and I told her she had left her socks here from the weekend. She looked at them and said they weren't hers. My heart sank, and so did hers. We both realized someone had been coming into my house again, and I probably wasn't imagining things the first time. A few days later, I came home from work and found a bag from a lingerie store on my couch. It was empty. This bag had come from inside my house, as I had recently bought a bathing suit from that store, and the receipt was in that bag. At first, I thought my cat might have dragged it out, but there were no teeth marks, and my cat couldn't have opened my closet door to get into the recycling on the top shelf. The final and most unsettling thing happened tonight. My girlfriend met me after work, and we went out for dinner. When we got back to my apartment, I went to unlock my door and noticed it was already unlocked. Locking the door when I leave is something I am extremely OCD about. I don't just double and triple check it, I quadruple check it. It's not just a habit, but something deeply ingrained in me. Everyone who knows me knows this about me, as I even do it to their doors. I have to check 4 times or I get an icky feeling. My girlfriend was on high alert when she noticed my door was unlocked. We entered my apartment and I checked to see if anything was out of place. She ran to the sliding glass door and tugged it open. I never leave that door unlocked, and she witnessed me lock it on Sunday when I closed it because it was getting cold. She saw me check it at least 4 times. I hadn't opened it since then. We are both convinced that someone has been in my house. Whoever it is somehow has a key. The fact that they left the sliding door unlocked makes me think that they might be planning to come back with ill intentions. If they have a key, why would they need to unlock the sliding door unless they don't want to be identified by the security cameras at the front door of my building? Either way, I have already ordered a security system, but unfortunately, it hasn't arrived yet. Growing up, I lived in a decent-sized middle-class apartment complex. This took place between 1988 and 1990, when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Since there was only one driveway in and out of the complex, My mother pretty much let me roam around by myself from a very young age. My court, or block of apartments, was the first one you passed entering the complex, and my apartment was 100 feet from it. I wasn't supposed to leave the court unless my mom knew whose place I was going to. I was a very curious and outgoing child, and very social. My mom liked to call me the mayor, because I knew a good number of people in the complex. Overall, I had a few run-ins with creeps, weirdos, and a definite pedophile or two over the years living there, but nothing ever escalated into a worrisome incident. My parents were both pretty tough growing up and taught me early on about street smarts and self-defense, and that it's okay to talk to strangers in certain situations because not everyone is bad. They also taught me how to tell when someone might be a danger to me. We had, at one point, a particularly creepy ice cream man. He had a spiky mullet and always wore tank tops. He had really bad acne, weird teeth, and a piggish nose. At the time, I thought he was in his 40s, but looking back, he was probably in his late teens or early 20s. He loved talking to the other kids about wrestling. I went to his truck once with friends when he was parked outside the pool. I didn't have enough money for something, so I said, "Oh, never mind." But he gave it to me anyway for whatever money I did have. However, I didn't like the way he smiled at me. So if I heard the ice cream man, I'd peek out the window to see which ice cream guy was pulling into the complex. If it wasn't him, I'd get ice cream. I don't know how much time passed between my first encounter with him and the loss, but in between, there were a few occasions where I was coming home or going to a different court for whatever reason. If I happened to be walking down the main drive, he'd pull up next to me on the sidewalk, and I'd just pretend he wasn't there and cut through a court to hide. He'd holler things like, "Why are you so scared of me? I'm nice. You make me feel bad." One day, my mom said I couldn't leave the court for whatever reason. My friend lived in the corner apartment of the court after mine, so I sat on my court's corner nearest hers. She sat on her corner, and we were talking and tossing toys to each other across the parking lot. I heard the ice cream man, even though I was at the other end of my block. He saw me when he pulled in and started driving toward me. I just ran and hid in my court until he moved further into the complex. I waited what felt like enough time, and I didn't hear music anymore. I walked back to the corner, and my friend had already gone inside. I picked up whatever toy I had left behind, and as I turned to start walking home, I noticed he was sitting in the parking lot of the court across the main drive in his truck with the music off. I dropped what I was holding and went to pick it back up. He was already directly across the street from me. Stopped. "Hi, what's your name? Can we be friends? I feel really bad that I scared you. I'm actually a really nice guy." He had on a tie-dye tank top. His hair was greasy, and his acne was flared up. I remember just being repulsed by him. My legs locked up because I was so scared, and I mentally tried to decide if I'd have a better chance of escaping through the woods or down the main drive. "I can't have friends," I said. "My mom said no." "Well, let me give you a free ice cream. I feel bad." "My mom says I can't have ice cream today." "Okay, so you can have candy, soda, or a snap bracelet." "Sorry, I can't cross the street." "That's okay. I'll come to you. You can ride in the truck and play the music if you want." I realized this back and forth was going to be a losing battle for me, So I decided the best thing to do was to play along. Okay, if you turn the truck around, I don't have to cross the street, so my mom won't get mad. He'd have to leave and immediately re-enter the complex to do that, but it would buy me 20 to 30 seconds. He got way too excited that I seemed willing and started to drive. I took off running immediately. I got home and my mom was on the phone with my dad, who was out of state for the day. I told her what happened and she made me tell my dad. They both told me how proud they were of me and how I made a really grown-up decision. After that, unless I was out of town, I avoided ice cream men at all costs. I still think about that to this day and always tell that story to kids I babysit. I just hope I was the only kid he tried to bait and that no one else had a worse experience.